Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Tuesday, October 3rd, and we are here trying to help you make better financial choices. We spent some time with a listener yesterday who was really tough. I know for a lot of people to hear, they're like, just invest your money, just invest. You know, this is also emotional. Your financial life is emotional. Investing is emotional. It's scary sometimes, but we can help you out. That's why we encourage you to actually give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the contact us button and write your note. And it doesn't have to be big dollars. It doesn't have to mean a big life-changing event, but sometimes it is. Whatever is on your mind, we'd love to assist you. Today, we are talking to Dawn, who's on the line from the Pacific Northwest. Welcome, Dawn. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for answering my email.
What's going on? What can we do for you?
Well, I am on the verge of retiring. I'm 62. And, you know, I've spent my whole life just putting money in my 401k, saving money. And now I look at my funds and they're kind of a mess. So I guess my question is, what do I do? What's the next phase? Do I find a financial advisor? Do I use a RoboCop?
I like that. A RoboCop investor.
Exactly.
Those are all good questions. So let's talk a little bit about what you have, what you've accumulated. You said you're 62. When do you think you will retire?
I'm thinking sometime between January and June of next year.
So we'll just say sometime next year. How's that? How much do you earn currently, Dawn?
Okay, so during COVID, I was actually doing pretty well. Things have settled down. I'm making maybe $150 a year.
Are you single, partnered, spouse, anyone out there?
Nope, single, no children.
Okay. Are you working in a profession that provides a pension for you?
I am, yes. I will receive the maximum pension. It's based on the contracts. Mm-hmm. And when I retire next year, it's just like $7,900 a month. And then it bumps up over the next 4 years, topping off at $113 a year.
At like your age 65, 6, is that right?
I think it'll be, in about 4 years. So whatever that is.
Okay. At age 66, it turns, and I'm sorry, how much did it top off at?
$113
a year. Okay. $113,000 a year. Can you live on that?
Well,
well,
yeah, I have a rental. And so I bring in around $32,000 a year.
That rental, that's when you say you bring in, that's net to you?
I just put everything in one bucket. So net to me would be, let's see, $13,000 a year.
Okay. So we have $13,000 a year from the rental. And then we have $113,000 from the pension.
There's a bridge, a $500 a month bridge until I hit Social Security.
And that is on top of the $7,900 a month pension?
Yes.
Okay. So that's $500 a month. And then at your age 67, what's your Social Security?
$35.50.
If we run these numbers, right?
Yep.
If you looked at your income at let's just say age 67, so it's $35.50 a month from Social Security. It's the rental income, right? And it's the pension. And I think you can live on that. Don't you think?
I think I can live on that. I think the first 4 years are going to be without the Social Security. If I travel or if I need a little extra, my plan is to take out no more than 1% from my account.
All right, calm down, Dawn. I already see that you're a hyper saver. So let's get these. Let's get some numbers. How much money do you have socked away?
Okay, 401k. I have 1.1.
Goodbye. We're done. We're done talking. I'm totally kidding. Okay, you're in great shape. I can tell already. I just knew this. Okay, 1.1 in the 401k pre-tax.
Pre-tax, yes.
Okay. What else?
Roth 136.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional 4. Brokerage.
Wait, traditional what? A traditional IRA? How much?
Traditional IRA. I just have 4,000.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant 400,000. And I was going to be like, slow down.
No, I wish.
Okay. You don't need it. All right, let's keep going.
Brokerage 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an emergency fund of 80,000.
And where do you live? In a house, in a condo? Do you own it?
I'm in a condo and I have a duplex rental.
Is that the rental income we just talked about?
Yeah.
Okay. How much is the condo worth?
Condo's probably 500.
And there's a mortgage that's outstanding on it, right?
Yes.
How much?
275.
Now, when I asked you the rental income, $32,000 a year, and then I said, what's the net? Does that include paying the mortgage out of that net?
No.
In other words, when you said, I get rental income of $31,000 to $32,000 a year, then I followed up. I said, what's the net to you? And you said $13,000 a year. Is that because the rental income pays for the mortgage?
Correct.
Got it. What's the interest rate on the mortgage?
On the duplex, it's 3.6. On the condo, it's 2.8.
So how much is the rental property worth?
600.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the outstanding balance on that?
165.
You're worried why?
Well, I'm just worried about, I'm not worried about paying my bills. What I'm worried about is how do I invest in the future? Because I look at my 401k and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just have like a million account or a million funds.
Okay.
And so
do you feel comfortable if I said to you, pick these 4 funds? Do you feel comfortable just with that direction? Or do you want to hire a robo-advisor? Because a robo is totally easy. Like when you retire, you take your 401k, you open an account at Betterment or Vanguard, you roll over that 1.1 million, you combine it with your traditional IRA, and you say, okay, put the algorithm to work. I am a balanced investor. And, keep a certain amount of money in cash and then invest blank. Okay. So that's possible for the robo. You can be like very boring, or you could do this. Where's the brokerage account held?
One brokerage at Wells Fargo, but then the 401k and another brokerage is at Fidelity.
So if you had Fidelity, one way to think about it is you would say, I want to leave some money in cash every year for what I think my needs are going to be, right? Because you're somewhat worried about these first 4 or 5 years. So how much money do we really think you need to keep set aside for each year? What do you think the gap is? I know it's not really your monthly spend, it's the extras. So, if you have $100,000 a year of income between your pension and that boost before Social Security kicks in, right? It's $100,000 a year. How much more do you think you'd want to spend?
Well, I was thinking $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Okay. So the first thing that I would do is to make sure that from your 401k that you would have that money set aside in cash and you'd pull it out in the beginning of the year. Okay. You don't have that much money in an emergency reserve considering that you have, a condo and a rental property. So, maybe when you retire, the first thing you do next year is hopefully early in the year is your income's going to go down and you're going to take a distribution. You're going to pay tax on it. Big deal. Pay the tax on it. Every year you take at the beginning of the year, take your 30 grand out. Okay. You have to pay tax on it, but you're going to have to pay tax on it anyway. For the next 4 or 5 years, do that. Pull the money out. That's going to actually help with your retirement required minimum distributions, right? And now with the rest of the money, you can do a number of things. You could say, I don't really think you need a broker, or even an advisor. You have such a simple financial life. You just need a way to make sure that the money is efficiently invested in either index funds or with an automatic platform, a robo. That's all you need. I don't want you to overthink it. It's as simple as saying, okay, there's a U.S. stock index fund. There's an international stock index fund. There is an intermediate term bond fund. And then maybe if you felt like you just wanted to, you could put like a little bit of like couple of percent in a commodities fund. But it doesn't have to be a lot. You can really be very happy with 4 or 5 funds. That's it. Like a wide stock market index, an international index, which maybe makes up 50% of the allocation. And you could say a bond index could be 50%, or you can pull a little bit off the bond index and put a few percent in a commodities index fund, and boom, you're done. That's it.
That's perfect.
And that's not a lot of work for you. But I do want to be clear that I think that for the extra money you need, it would be very good for you to pull the money out of the 401k. And that way you can pay the tax a little bit at a time because your income's going to still be pretty high. So it's even better to take a little bit more out because you don't have a lot of deductions, right? I mean, you have deductions from the house. Your highest tax bracket is you're in the 24%. You could pull up to 180 grand a year out of you could have 180 grand a year of income. So we know that you have, 100 right now. You could actually pull $50,000 or $60,000 a year out of your retirement account, stay in the 24% tax bracket, and whittle down those required minimum distributions in the future.
That sounds great, first of all. And
yay.
I didn't think I needed an advisor, but I went and talked to somebody last week, and he just went into full selling mode.
You were exhausted.
Yeah, well, he wanted me to buy an annuity, which, I know. So I took a step back. I said, I'll let you know. And that's when I decided to send you a note and ask your opinion because I trust you and Mark and value your opinions. I do have, if you have time for one more question.
Sure.
So my income is going to go down. Would it be a good time to sell the duplex? So I've owned it for like 17 years.
Uh-huh.
And I bought it at 309. It's valued about 600, 620, something like that. I'm getting, I have solid renters. They have a pretty good deal. But at some point, that property is going to be so expensive in the Portland market that an investor won't be able to get enough rent out of there. I'm wondering if it's a good time to sell it. Maybe not today.
I get what you're saying. I mean, here's the way to think about that. Let's say it's next year. Let's say you retire on January 15th. You say, I'm giving my notice. It's January 15th. And now we know that you'll make 100 grand next year, right? And that's it. That's all you'll have that. You'll have rental income, but a lot of that rental income could go away as soon as we sell this. But okay, 100 grand. Now, if you were to consider selling the duplex, you would be in the 15% long-term capital gain. I'll say this is just the capital gains part of it. Okay. So that's a nice low capital gains rate. Really, really good. Okay. So I like the idea of selling that. The one thing you just have to factor in, you may just for this transaction work or even ask somebody maybe it's next year you do 1 year where you pay someone to file your taxes if you're going to sell the property, only because it's a little tricky. So there is the capital gains, but then you have likely been depreciating this this duplex, right? If you've been depreciating it, then amid the sale, you have to recapture that depreciation and it's taxable to you. So I just would want to make sure that you know what that amount is. But if that's the case, I think that's a good idea. Then you would not take money out of your retirement account, potentially, if that pops you into a higher tax bracket with the recapture. I think for 1 year, having an accountant really go through this with you would be a very good idea.
Okay. And so is that just like a regular CPA?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Just personal CPA. It'll cost, you'd be like, oh, I could do this myself. But you know what? It's nice when you're doing a transaction to have someone to work with. All right. And you give us a holler back. If you don't do it, it's fine. It's okay. You could do it the following year. You're in good shape.
I feel comfortable. Thank you so much.
DAWN.
Yes.
Her name is Dawn if you live out in the West. But here in New York, we would just say Dawn. So I apologize for butchering your name. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are like DAWN and you'd like some advice about, a transition period, give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air. Don't forget, while you're there, you can buy my book, The Great Money Reset, which is kind of perfect for these kinds of questions. The Great Money Reset is based on all the conversations that I've had with you all over the years. And I really think it's been very informative for me to hear how people get to the next place, these transition periods. Really helpful. That's what the book is all based on, what you want to do to reset your life. If you would not mind, we would also be delighted if you would sign up for the free weekly newsletter. Mark works very hard compiling the important stories of the week every Friday, and he does a great job doing that. Do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.